Hello, happy Sunday. I'm coming in here in the evening, but wherever you are, good day to you and happy full moon. We are riding the waves of a full moon in Gemini that peaked overnight here in the wee hours. And also, if you're feeling a little bit either forward movement or completely scattered or anywhere in between, Mercury has been retrograde and has now stationed direct as well. So both of those things happening here as we're ready to dive in for our week ahead collective messages. And I have some other astrological weather to highlight for this week. It is just it's a very active time. There's a lot going on. There's a lot coming up. There's a lot of energy and themes around culminations and completion and cycles and more, so we'll feel into that, and you may find yourself anywhere in there, because this is sort of the energy of the time that, a lot of people are feeling a lot of that intensity. One of the biggest aspects of this full moon is choice, and duality. And so a sense of choices and, sort of having that menu, which can feel overwhelming. It can feel like we're really unclear, especially when we're kind of in the fray between Mercury retrograde to Mercury direct. Now it has stationed direct. However, we do have the post shadow. So again, that's communication, that's the mind, as well as the technical aspects, travel, all of the things that Mercury touches that we've talked about here throughout the month. So we're going to dive in now to our decks for the month. Like we did last week, I'm feeling called to do a little bit of a tarot ally for the week. First, consulting the Christmas tarot, which is all major arcana. So that's last week we had the death card. We'll see what comes up for this week. Then we'll do our 5-card spread from the winter Waite deck. And we'll pull an oracle card from the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. And of course, we're moving towards solstice as well. A week from today, we will be bringing in winter solstice or summer in the southern hemisphere. So these are all energies at play with the wheel turning, the cycles that we're moving through. And 'tis the season for all the feels. So again, wherever you are, I feel like I need to spray first. Before we pull, what should we spray? I'm going to bring in the greens. I'm going to bring this one over because I love these two together. We're going to do the emerald for renewal and recovery, and then hope, positive mindset. So we're going to bring in the green, this deep emerald, and so many moving through things at this time in their lives around, being in touch with people who are dear to us, moving through illness and, states of necessary renewal, recovery, in general, just feeling really depleted. The emerald energy comes into the heart chakra, and it is like a balm, a soothing balm when we're just really feeling exhausted. That's the word that's coming to me too, like just exhausted on all levels, but, just healing, being sent out, so many people. It's not even like it comes in threes. It's beyond that. I've lost count of how many people I've been in touch with over the past 2 weeks who have, whether it be parents or other loved ones in their orbit, that they are caring for. And, there's just so much going on right now. And what I like to kind of anchor into in those times is, when we find that we are right in alignment with the energies at the time, and, any bit of comfort it can bring to say that we are right where we are to be, where the energies are at, which means you are actually in flow. You're actually, in alignment with moving through these energies. If the energies are turbulent, if the energies are particularly challenging, that's not fun. It may not be preferred, but it's actually right where things are at. So it is truly being in flow and being in a state of surrender. But also, one of the themes that has been coming up is about hope as the spark, hope as the seed, as the thing that initiates shifting into different perspectives when it comes to circumstances and situations that we see in the world, that we see within our worlds, our little worlds, and everything else. So just bringing in that energy as well with the Emerald Renewal and Recovery is hope, positive mindset. So let's bring that in as well. And we will tune in. And again, if you would like a personal card pull this week, as we move through the messages, if there's anything that's, we're over here speaking to you or jumping out specifically, you can let me know, and then we will focus on that and bring that in for your personal card pull. And then also, this week, a number of ways we can connect. I do have the full moon empowerment reading available this month. It was a big one. This full moon in Gemini, I think the part 1 was like an hour and 13 minutes. So we really got into it. All the astrological weather that we're moving through now, as well as a ritual that you can do between now and the end of the year. We did a 6-card tarot spread, as well as the oracle messages that came through. So that's already available. And then part 2 would be your personal full moon card pulls to bring through some messages for you around release, letting go, shedding, healing, for turning towards the new. So it's the last full moon of the year, and definitely has a lot of opportunity for us to make new choices, perhaps in old circumstances, things that have been coming around again. That candle magic that we got last week from the Yule Oracle, and we brought in the Ammonite fossil, that came up in the full moon reading as well. So there's definitely this cyclical energy of coming around again and being in perhaps familiar frequencies, but with new opportunities, new wisdom that we've gleaned, tools that we have along the way. So the full moon empowerment reading is available. And also I have some seasonal offerings, including a Yule reading and a winter solstice reading. So those are 2 specials that I like to offer this time of year. And I also have a summer solstice spread for that one, for anyone who would prefer. And I would prefer that it be the summer. Personally, it is super cold here. And of course, all of the gift certificates and all the things that I've been mentioning. So just a little reminder of those things being available. The year ahead reading, huge. I can't wait to launch into that. I'm preparing for that and looking forward to really diving into each of the year ahead readings that have been booked so far. And that is still available for anyone who would like to join. So without further ado, let's pull our tarot ally for the week with a little major arcana. So that sounds like an oxymoron. Little major, little big energy, kind of setting the tone this week as an ally for us to move forward with. I knew it. Oh my gosh, I almost said it out loud. I was going to say it's going to be the moon because we're here in this full moon energy, and I had a feeling, and of course there it is. So yeah, I was going to say it. I didn't, but it's here now. Number 18 of the major arcana, moon energy. So we're going to look at what's being illuminated, what is in shadow, what's coming up here through the energies of the moon. And in fact, the key word on the card is hidden. So we'll see how that goes. Let's get our 5 tarot cards out here for our week ahead spread, starting with Monday, which is setting the tone for the week ahead, kicking things off. 1 card. See what comes forward for us for the collective. And again, these messages are for the collective, meaning that some may resonate more than others. You're always invited to take what resonates and leave the rest. There's always someone there to pick it up. So just tune in to what resonates for you. And whenever you're coming upon these messages is divine timing. And, oh, yep, that one wants to come out. Of course. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay. So this was the Wednesday card last week, our midweek blessing. It is the Gemini card of the tarot. It is the card for duality and choice. So these 2 poster children for the here and now, a Gemini full moon illuminating from what has been hidden, choice, duality, bringing heaven to earth. So these are literally the two cards that we could have pulled that would represent exactly where we are. So that's the feels that I'm getting, is like, be here now, right? And it could be any kind of way. So it's like, and this is Archangel Raphael, by the way, which is the energy of the emerald ray, the archangel of healing, balance, healing, and harmony. I mean, I know I'd say it all the time. I appreciate you being here. This is what came up. Yeah, last week for Wednesday. So it's back again, really highlighting for us where we're at, right? Be here now. Choice and duality coming into this state of illumination from things that have been hidden in plain sight, perhaps, but coming forward now in a way that you have a choice as to how you're going to proceed. So with that, let's feel into the potential blocker challenge this week with the Tuesday energy. See what's coming up for us. Tuesday's card. It's a lot. It is so much. Yes, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Exhausted, exhausting, holding up all of these wands. The wands it's the Sagittarius season, right? So it's the fire energy of doing and acting and creating and exploring, and all of these things that may have the mind may be driving us to do one thing, and then the heart could be feeling something very different, or could just really be feeling depleted, exhausted, overwhelmed, overloaded. It's so much to hold. So this is really an alignment. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make it easy. It doesn't make it easy. It doesn't make it preferred, but it's where we're at. But we're here together, and we use these cards and these tools for information gathering, for gleaning awareness and insight and new perspectives, right? The circumstances are what they are. The energies are what they are. But it's about, how do I want to be? How do I choose to be in this? Right? And so that's where the power lies. The power is in the choice as to how I'm going to experience it. And to me, I just got the Chariot vibe. So there's a little nod there to the Chariot energy of, I can't control the outside, external, which when we're talking Chariot, it brings us into the vehicle, right? So behind the wheel, I'm in the driver's seat, right? And I'm empowered and I have free will choice, but I can't control the other drivers. I can't control construction, traffic, detours, road rage, weather conditions. I don't have any control over those things. So that's the Chariot. That's just coming in here. So I guess we'll see if that shows up, but nonetheless, definitely feeling those vibes there. And that's Cancer energy as well. So again, we're in the feels. Heart chakra. All right, family, belonging, identity, all of it. Okay, middle of the week is, oh, look at that. That one just turned right to the side. Yeah, Sagittarius season is like, yep, like I'm here. The sparks are here. The fire's lit. Like go, go, go. Take action, be inspired, create, do. And yet we feel perhaps something that looks like this, so this energy is sort of competing. It's sort of a competing energy that we could be experiencing right now. But this is a blessing. So I love this because I can already see, like, do you need to hold all 10 of those wands, or can you choose from those 10 one spark, one idea, one seed, one area of focus of where I'm putting my attention in this moment, and proceed from there? So that comes in with a blessing. Thursday is how we are growing. So how are we growing this week? What's coming forward for us as we learn, heal, grow, and expand? There it is again. They're just popping right out. Wands, and more wands. Well, what do you want to do with those wands? Well, here's three of wands, all about really contemplating where to from here, right? How do I wish to proceed? What do I want to do with these wands? How do I want to wield them? But I'm definitely feeling a weeding out, a narrowing down. We don't need all 10. all at the same time, right? And I know that there's a million, yes, but, I know, but I got all my butts over here as well. Like it is like full on over here with my to-do list and my mind spinning all the time with, all the things. But that's why we tap in here to say, hey, with our higher selves, with team spirit, what do we need to know about what's coming up this week, the energies that are around, and what can we do with them? What can we do? What new choices are available? What can we create with this? So we've got three wands cards and two majors. Obviously we knew that was going to be from the major arcana, and then right behind it we have another one. So wrapping up the week, see what we got coming in here, either a tie with another major or a tiebreaker with a minor. And again, minor arcana represent the people, places, and things that make up our fool's journey. It's fodder, it's the material with which we go on this adventure as in this human lifetime that we're having. So let's see what we get. Major or minor? What's coming forward for us to wrap up the week? Oh. Oh my gosh, can't make it up. There's 4 suits of the tarot. We pulled all of our cards from the same one, the wands. And this is the 9 of wands. So okay, what I'm getting is our ego selves are like not letting go of those 10 wands easily. Okay, how about 9? All right, like we're negotiating here with our higher self. Like, all right, fine, not 10, how about 9? Like, no, we're talking like one divine spark, one action at a time, and taking time to contemplate and really consider, and not just overloading ourselves and keeping ourselves so busy that we can't take a breath or get any new perspectives to come in, right? By keeping that spinning. So yeah, it's funny, it's like one way or another, it has the way with us in terms of, if when we pay attention to these little details, it's like, you can't make it up. I mean, like I said, there's more than 78 cards in here because this deck does have some doubles of different versions. So we're talking a minimum of 78 cards in here, 4 suits plus the major arcana. And we picked all wands coming forward in Sagittarius season under a Gemini full moon last month, last full moon of the year, coming in here with us really deciding, looking at the energy and how are we going to invest? Where are we going to invest it, right? This is all coming around for us. Let's pull our final card from the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. See what wants to come in with a little punctuation mark for our week ahead messages, which I'll probably be recording in stages because we have not eaten dinner yet. And I'm going to get the cards pulled now and start to dive in, and then I will be back. So it's all here in divine timing for you. If you are watching live, thank you. I appreciate you all for being here when you can, where you can. And I will also put this on my YouTube as I do each week. Okay, final card for the week, an oracle message. There we go. Put these back. There we go. The unknown. Wow. Okay, so that's giving new moon vibes, right? There's an absence of light, but wholeness. 41, think on it and you will stumble, for the heart is a ghost upon the unknown. Let it bleed into the depths, bearing nothing but desire. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to dive into that, but like as soon as I saw that, I'm seeing like new moon, because again, if you recall, we have an unusual 3 lunations this month. We still have one more moon cycle happening this year, a new moon in Capricorn that is known as a black moon, because like when you have 2 full moons in a month, it's a blue moon. 2 new moons in a month are a black moon. So we still have, so now we're looking at this time period, and that's being highlighted here for me for sure, but we're going to feel into the Oracle's message for this one as well. Okay, let's get into it and get started here. I'm going to come back here with the astrological weather for the week, and then we'll get into these cards. Let's check it out. All right, let's dive in here with this astrological weather that we are navigating this week, starting with today, December 15th, Gemini full moon and Mercury direct. So as I touched upon last week when we were sort of projecting for this week, and as I mentioned during the card poll, this is the last full moon of 2024, and it has occurred in the sign of Gemini. And the Gemini twins has a little story that goes with it, where one twin was mortal, the other immortal. And together they create the balance of what it means to be human. So we are both a soul and a body. And during our time here in this earthly realm, it's our job to honor both sides of the equation. So the Gemini full moon is coming in here representing the duality and choice, as we've been talking about. Week 2, that we have the Gemini card of the tarot on the altar space for us. This one very prominently in the position of Monday, so really setting the tone for our week. This energy of choice. But also the Gemini full moon is representing this powerful point of completion and endings. There's a lot of culmination energy behind this full moon. This is something I talked about in the full moon empowerment reading, where we brought through these key words of illumination, culmination, and completion, that really falls in alignment with wrapping up a calendar year, finishing out this last month, last full moon, as we endeavor towards the new. So if there are things that you're wanting to do away with and not bring with you into 2025, this is certainly, and these next, just typically about 48 hours around a full moon is a good time to really set those intentions. And again, if you want to go deeper, the full moon empowerment reading is available, where you would receive part 1, where we really got into it. And then part 2 is happening this week, when I would come in on Marco Polo and record personal card pulls just for you around that full moon. Now, as I mentioned, also today, Mercury has stationed direct. And so this is going to bring fresh opportunity for our minds to move into some new clarity. But that may not have occurred yet. So that's what I'm saying, is when we're, right as it's stationing retrograde or direct, we can tend to feel those influences more intensely. And even on the other side of it, now stationed direct, we do have the post shadow. So you could still be feeling scattered or overwhelmed mentally, but there is fresh opportunity now, forward moving momentum coming in here, where you can start to begin to embrace some new clarity. So really pay attention to what messages come your way at this time. And you're likely to have some divine inspiration. And I think, I'm looking at these cards, and, we have messenger energy on the altar with our knight. We have plenty of creative sparks and intention coming in here through the wands. So really feeling very aligned. Now, moving into this week, just a few things to highlight. The first one, December 18th, the Sun square Neptune. So Neptune has just stationed direct, had also been in retrograde. And so now that that's coming here into this, there's a new tense alignment to speak of, which is with the Sun. So the Sun square Neptune is going to bring forward, any lessons or gifts that the retrograde was intended to deliver are going to be brought to the surface now. Neptune is a little more nebulous and intangible, and things can take some time to really come into clarity. So now we may be seeing the sun shining a light, illuminating that, so things could be coming to the surface. So trust your intuition, stand up for yourself if something feels amiss. Be mindful not to move through this day, December 18th, with rose-colored glasses, right? So don't give the benefit of the doubt unless it is truly deserved. So a little note there on that date. Then we have, and that's going to be Wednesday, right? So we're talking about Wednesday energy there. So interesting with that Knight of Wands. Okay, we'll feel into that. The next day, December 19th, we have Venus trine Jupiter. Wait, am I off? Tomorrow, the Monday is 16, 17, 18. No, okay. December 19th, Venus trine Jupiter, a beautiful planetary duo coming in here. So this is really a harmonious combination of planetary energy that's going to shed some good fortune on this day. Woohoo! It makes it a great day for creative projects, socializing, and shining bright. So make use of this day by doing something that you love. Love that. Okay. And that's really, I wasn't going to get into the winter solstice or the beginning of Capricorn season, which are happening simultaneously on December 21st until next week, because that'll be. But then again, I am definitely calendarly challenged these days, which is crazy because of the very meticulous countdown that's going on in this house by the children as to what day it is and how many days until Christmas. Actually, it's the 21st is Saturday, not Sunday. Okay, I'm having an internal dialogue aloud. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's highlight Saturday, next Saturday, December 21st. Winter solstice, sun enters Capricorn. So welcome into Capricorn season. Happy birthday to all the Capricornians. And of course, solstice. So here we're celebrating either the longest or shortest day of the year, depending on where you are in the world. But no matter where we are on this great cosmic cycle, we won't stay here for long, right? Things are always moving and shifting, and nature is a great reminder of that. So this is really, nature speaking to those cycles and the turning of the wheel. Capricorn season is a time to honor our innate gifts and to celebrate ourselves for all that we are. So it's really an ambitious sign that can give us the stamina to make it through the holidays and into another year. So it's interesting, looking at our spread this week, because there's a couple of cards, that speak to a little bit of that overwhelm, overload, exhaustion. But there's this fire under the surface in every case with the wands coming in here. So there's still inspiration. There's still creativity coming in here, little sparks, like our hope positive mindset, even though we also may be navigating those heavier feels. So we'll feel into that. But like I said, we'll talk more about solstice as the week goes on. And again, if you do want to have your own solstice reading, that is one of the special seasonal offerings I have, both a winter and summer solstice spread that are available as well. I'll be tuning in for those readings this week if you're interested. All right, let's start things off here with our tarot ally for the week that came forward from the Christmas Tarot. All right, kicking off our cards for the week, we pulled a ally for the week ahead from the Christmas Tarot, and it is none other than the cover girl of the day, the moon, as we are here in the energies of a full moon in Gemini. So as I mentioned in the card polls, there's a lot of synchronicities coming up in the cards, and it starts here with this card 18, key word on the moon being hidden. So the moon is about continuing cycles, and it invites people to follow their instincts. So these inner knowings are oftentimes mysterious, hidden, unclear, in the shadow, but nonetheless, a great way to nudge the impulses that come so readily to us. So there may be impulsive thinking or unstructured time frames when this card shows its face, but those are good implements for developing your intuitive abilities. Now, interestingly, the Knight of Wands, which we have on our altar this week in the Wednesday position for a midweek blessing, one of the shadow aspects of the Knight of Wands is it can be impulsive. There can be a little, knee-jerk reaction, getting a little hot under the collar and firing off from the Knight of Wands. So that's interesting that it's kind of worded there in a similar way of impulsive thinking. There is an energy here to tap into these intuitive abilities and use them. Watch carefully as you go down the steps of your inner self. There could be a psychic moment. This is coming from the Christmas tarot. So what it's noting here that we're seeing in the depiction are Christmas candles. So it's saying the flickering lights of candles are something that has been passed down through the ages as many cultures. The Romans offered them to the god of Saturn because the planet was symbolic of light. With the onset of Christianity, candles have been placed in windows to guide visitors, at one time to guide the wise men to the Christ child. The Victorians placed them on trees as a symbol of the original star, but the light is not bright when the moon is involved. Hold the candle, but have your intuition handy. Yeah, so I think, from that too, there's a little bit of like not relying on external illumination in order to see. So we're being turned within, again, to go within. And, as I was saying last week, and I misspoke, and then I clarified that, for every year that we tune into the tarot and we say there's an archetype for the year, in that 2024, it's a 8 year. So we've been tuning into both the 8 card in the tarot, the strength card, and also the 17 card of the tarot, the star, which is its opposite. So it's Leo and Aquarius. So now here we have, coming into 2025, we have Hermit energy, which is number 9. And then the moon here is card 18. So that's bringing through 9 frequency as well. So again, and the lantern here is showing that symbol of, following your own light, your own inner light. So feeling that here for sure. And then the way that this deck is laid out is giving us past, present, and future energy as well. So when this comes up, and it's here as an ally to set the tone for us, feeling into it from a past perspective, and this feels really aligned with the 3 of Wands as well. If I were to think of those 3 wands as, past, present, and future as well, when it comes to seeing all at once, contemplating what lies in front of us. The past, it says you've kept your cards close to the vest as you've moved through this situation. Silence, introspection, and inner discoveries were the task of the day. You needed to consider things carefully and fully. It's not that you were afraid of making a wrong decision. You just wanted that decision to be the very best one for your growth. You did well, my friend. Now, in the present, it says, whether a wolf howls at the moon or monks retreat to their places of worship, pondering the light and how it affects each part of your situation requires solidarity. Things could be buried in your subconscious that need to be brought to light and considered. You are intuitive, so it will be a good thing. Just don't let the true face of your burdens scare you. You're strong in your nature. So yeah, in the present moment, as things are coming to light, as things are being illuminated, don't allow ourselves to be scared away by what we see, because it's like, to me, once we shed a light on something, like, think about the fears, and starting even from childhood, the monsters under the bed, the boogeyman in the closet, the shadows, the things that go bump at night that we can't see. And then what happens? The mind goes wild. The ego jumps in, trying to keep us safe and creating all these fantastical stories. And then we physically think that we see things in front of us that are like, yeah, see, it looks like this or it looks like that. And our imagination runs wild. As soon as the lights get flicked on and the whole room is illuminated, suddenly we see that heap in the corner is actually just a pile of clothing, not a ghost that's hovering above, all those types of things that, the light shining on something, the illumination, once we are able to look at something fully or to see it, that's such a big part of the challenge, of the battle right there. Some of the hardest parts is actually allowing ourselves to see and look at it. And we're not looking just with, what's physically in front of us or what the mind may have us believe, but we're again, the eyes and ears and our senses are being pulled within to our heart. The heart becoming into our feels and also our intuition in terms of what meets the eye. Now, for the moon in the future, it says you've made your decisions on the basis of the very best knowledge you had, and you will continue to explore your inner self to find ways to make things even better. Going through seemed like a long journey when you were there, but now, looking back, it was but a snip of time, and you and your intuitive ability to peek behind the curtain and take the stairs in 2 steps at a time make a bright future. So again, the future is bright. We're feeling this illumination, this positive uptick of energy that we can tap into. And I think this is really connecting in with that 3 of Wands, which was the how we are growing position this week for Thursday. So we'll feel into that and see where it takes us. But finally, this moon card brings forward this angel message. Shadows are muddy only for as long as you do not shine your light. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. It's muddy, it's murky, it's scary, it's creepy when we're not shining our light upon it. But when we shine our light upon it, it starts to take away the power. It takes back the power. So that's what I'm feeling in terms of, as we have these revelations and aha moments and things that are coming to light regarding whatever it may be that's coming up for us through this full moon energy, through some of the other aspects that we talked about in the energetic weather, as those things are coming up, and they can be challenging, they can be strained, it can be difficult to navigate. Really tapping into our sense of empowerment, our internal compass, our internal knowing, and anchoring into that. So let's take that with this lantern now and look at our cards for this week and the messages that are coming forward for us collectively. All right, we are kicking off our 5-card spread for the week with Monday's card, which is a returning member of the board here, the Lovers. This was here last week, as I mentioned in the card pull, for Wednesday's position as a midweek blessing. Here today, quite synchronistically, with the moon card, with our full moon in Gemini happening here today. So really powerful. I know we talked about this card through the lens of Wednesday last week. This week, as we tune into this card and how it's showing up to set the tone for us, again, we're brought into this power of choice, the power of duality, of seeing both light and shadow, both masculine and feminine, both the full moon illumination and the new moon in shadow, and so it's really highlighting for us. And yes, just traditionally, we're talking about relationships. This can signal different relationships and choice within those partnerships and unions of all kinds. And so that, of course, being the primary way that we have this human experience through our relationships, through our connections with other, and that's where I was mentioning in the card pull that this is Archangel Raphael overlighting the Lovers here. And it's, bringing out for us masculine, feminine energy as above, so below. So it really is bringing us into the choice that we have around all the things, but specifically, feeling into this culmination, completion energy this year, month, final full moon phase, bringing forward for us choice, the power of choice, and restoring perhaps harmony and balance and healing in our lives. And like I said, this can literally be highlighting from the most basic sense. Like I said, a lot of people I know are navigating healing for themselves, for loved ones, the vibration of sort of bringing in that frequency of alignment, whether it is about, illness or on the physical. I happen to know my father-in-law is having eye surgery this day on Monday. So as I'm recording this tomorrow, and it's a very important surgery because it has to do with, his degenerative condition and the gradual loss of his eyesight. So this is something that has a lot of expectation, hope, and anticipation behind it that it will be successful and help to really improve the quality of his life. I'm just going to spray the Archangel Raphael again, reiterating that wherever you are in this process, I was having dinner, before I came in here, no matter when you're watching this, I know some people are watching it live. I was pulling the cards and I said, hey, I'm just pulling the cards now and might have to take a pause. And sure enough, as soon as I finished, our dinner was ready. So while I was eating, of course, then I'm kind of reflecting on the cards that I know have come forward and messages just keep popping in. And, there's just a dynamic that's coming up for so many people right now, whether it is around parental figures, elders, an older generation, not just, that not only, but in general. I was thinking of the symbolism of the different generations and the ways in which we are being brought together in relationship, the roles that we all play for each other, and the shifting and changing of those roles, especially when we talk about parent to child, and then aging parent to child, to adult child, and the way in which those dynamics are coming up where everything is connected. So if we're talking about our lives in our microcosm, all the way out to the collective in the macrocosm, the things that we see happening in the world are reflecting back to us. The things that are happening on our small stages are all connected. So when we find ourselves in these roles and role reversals, and perhaps in places of perspective coming in, and also, just opportunities to see things through different lenses, I'm just tapping into a frequency of that has a message, some learning in it for us around the roles that we all play for each other and within our relationships. And like I said, it doesn't have to just be generational or parental, but you can see how that's one of the ways that relationship dynamic is highlighted. This energy of those scales and, healing and harmonizing. And then, of course, another 6 card that's not here today, but we talk about often, especially in accordance with Archangel Raphael and the lovers, is the 6 of Pentacles, that card with the scales, where we're talking about giving and receiving and reciprocity. And so restoring perhaps balance and harmony in that area, if not just being in this vibration of healing, a healing energy, a hope, positive mindset energy, all this frequency that I'm just feeling into. Like I said, it doesn't have to be for everybody, but I know that for a number of us, that is the case. So lovers coming in. And so again, setting the tone for us this week, the Gemini card of relationships, choice, and duality, back again, but in a very prominent position of kickstarting the week and really showing us how, opening our hearts to our relationships and those dynamics and expanding into that with loving trust, with an openness to consider different perspectives and make, I'm feeling like a illuminated choice, an elevated choice, an expansive choice, which is what, again, all things pointing to how we're growing here. So when we get here, there's a connection that I'm feeling as well. All right, let's take a look now at Tuesday's card for the potential block or challenge this week. So now Tuesday representing our potential block or challenge this week. And again, feeling very aligned here with these 10 wands, the card of potential burnout. And as it is here in the winter Waite, the little brief interpretation says, feeling worn out and overburdened, holiday burnout. Some of this could be avoided if you ask people for help. Yes. Okay. Like I say, this is the card that reminds me of, many of us, for whatever reason, when you bring home a carload of groceries, feeling compelled to make it all in the house in as few trips as possible. So we load up, right? We load up with all the bags of groceries, around our wrist, holding them in our hand, and they're twisting and they're cutting off circulation, and we're pushing and bumping into things, and we can't get through the door, and we don't have a free hand. But why are we doing this? How many steps is it back out to the car? Or, sorry, kids, you don't have your shoes on. I need your help to carry some grocery bags in, that kind of an analogy. But it's do you really need to hold all of those wands all by yourself, all at the same time? Overload, burnout. But what role do we play in the amount of wands that we've got in the quiver at any moment? All the things that we're holding on to, trying to do at once. And if we try to do too many things at once, we can't do anything well, right? So it does put an onus on us to look at the role that we're playing in our burnout, in our overload, in our overwhelm. But also, I think this also gives me like lean on me energy to say, hey, you could benefit from some help, or perhaps you're in a position to be able to help someone else to defray a little bit of that, of the burden. But it's a challenge because, number one, a lot of people don't like to ask for help. They don't want to be a burden. They don't want to appear as though they can't handle it themselves. They just may not think that they're worthy of asking for help because, even though I'm overwhelmed and this is too much for me, my problems pale in comparison to other people that are much busier and much more overloaded than me. So who am I to need help? Who am I to need to put some of these wands down, or seeing it as a sign of failure that you can't handle all these things at once when it seems everyone else is, handling double, and that's not true anyway. It's a perception, right? So again, somewhere in there lies perhaps the potential for how this could be coming up specifically for each of us this week. But in general, there's a block or challenge when it comes to taking on too much at once and then not being able to do any of it at all or well, or, you're not helping anybody if you run yourself into the ground. And like, this is underscored by Friday's card, which I'll just show you now while we're here. And of course, we'll talk about this at the end of the 5 cards, 9 of Wands, further bringing in this energy of, looking at being a little battle worn when it comes to all of that energy. And again, the Wands are fire. So this is about, our creative impulses, our ideas, the actions that we take, our work in the world. So this could just really show the hustle, the bustle, the busyness of the season, and there's just not enough hours in the day, and there's so many things going on. Something has to give, right? And so if we don't put out for that renewal and recovery, we will be put into a position of taking that renewal and recovery, right? Not our first go round. We're familiar with that if we keep pushing it. So look for the ways in which things are feeling heavy, you're feeling overloaded, and take a look at the ways that you can control. We can't help the fact that, perhaps you're in a job where year end, this is the busy season, this is the crunch, all hands on deck, and it is a lot. And there's not much I can do right now to lighten that load, And so the things that you can control, controlling the controllables, not getting caught up in the yes, but, that'd be great, but I can't XYZ. Not what we can't. What can you do? And look at the cans, not the can'ts, is what I'm feeling there. But like I said, we'll come back around and touch on that energy with the underscore of the 9 of Wands here as well. Let's take a look now at Wednesday for a midweek blessing. All right, Wednesday is our midweek blessing. It's another major arcana card, the Lovers. This is card 6, and it is Gemini energy. It represents choice, duality, bringing heaven to earth. And what we actually have here is, traditionally, this is associated with Archangel Raphael, the archangel of balance, healing, harmony, and relationships. So, this is a card that really can speak to relationships of any kind, but also choice, this opportunity for the way in which we see things, our perspectives, and the choices that we make. This is a card that is opposite to the devil. So when we talk about the energy is of being in a prison of our own making, or in some way feeling confined or restricted, this has us to see our circumstances from a different point of view, that Garden of Eden energy, is it here already, or is it something that we must earn our way into? That type of energy as well. So perspectives and perceptions of our circumstances are available for us to look at through new lenses, and to see the duality in it. That's where the Gemini comes in. And like I said, we'll talk about the full moon in Gemini with the Sunday card pulls next week for sure. I'll probably pop in before that, like I said, because I will be recording that full moon reading this week. It's available if anyone wants to join. That we'll be really feeling into those energies and how that full moon might be affecting us, how we might be receiving those energies, how we can best work with them. But I do feel this card connected into that, and I love that it's in the position of a blessing. We will definitely take that. So really looking to how can that be a blessing? How is it coming in? Because in fact, that full moon will be the final full moon of the year. And so bringing in that Gemini energy is giving us that dual perspective and really creating an opportunity for balance. Gemini symbolizing the twins, one being mortal, the other immortal. And so it's a reminder that we are having a human experience, but we are multidimensional beings, so again, when it comes to what we believe is possible, what we can achieve, what we can build, what we can create, that we're not just limited to those walls, that we can expand beyond that we can come together to collaborate and co-create to create new things that are beyond maybe the current understanding. So it feels like a really big energy. It feels like the things that we could be releasing, shedding, and letting go, which is exactly what these two cards ahead of this midweek energy represent, things that are falling away, things that we have an opportunity to loosen up on or release, that they're really going to be very instrumental in creating the space for these new things that we will be co-creating in the future. So, it feels like kind of a pivotal, it's in the middle of our week. It's sort of like, also, it must be said that if we're looking this way and that away, there is a definite shift in the energy of these cards. This is like death and the destruction of things. This is co-creation of new, building, and birth. We have the Empress. So standing in the middle is the Lovers. What do you choose? How are you going to see it? What is your perspective? What role do you wish to play in the future of what is being built? What gifts do you want to carry into the new? And this is an opportunity for choice is how I'm seeing that. And also an opportunity to really look at the ways in which things may not be in balance or harmonized in your life, that you have the ability to tune in here with this energy of the 6 and balance, healing, and harmony through relationship with other, relationship with self, relationship with things like, again, it could be money, it could be change. Some of us real fixed signs like me, clean sweep of fixed energy, not a big fan of change, don't like when things are not changing on my schedule, on my clock. And so it can take me a minute to get on board. Now, typically once I'm on board, but I have to think that it was my idea to get on board. And even that is a story. That's the historical reference that's coming in past. And in the present, I have an opportunity to look at the ways in which things are out of balance in my relationship with change, with releasing, with letting go, with, whatever comes forward for someone that's feeling out of balance, that we then can choose a new story, to co-create a new story, to birth something new. So this is really feeling significant for our week as a pivotal turning point, which is perfect because just on the other side is the 12-12 gateway, an opportunity for completion, all of that energy that we wish to transmute and move into the new in a way that feels like we're really upgrading here. So let's take a look now at the Thursday card for how we are growing. Now, Thursday, how we are growing, and we have this beautiful card of elevated perspective, of really looking out onto the horizon. And as we started with the moon card talking about past, present, future energy, I like to think of those 3 wands as like where we're coming from, what we already know, what we have our hand on here, and like what's coming in that we have not yet seen, and making an inspired choice. So again, we see all the synchronicity coming in here with the fire, the choice, and those aspects being highlighted. And the winter Waite carries through the story of saying that before the Three of Wands is the Two of Wands. And I feel like we're being like low-key told to take a vacation here too, because I mentioned how the Knight of Wands can literally be like going on holiday, taking a trip. Well, now the Three of Wands is saying, the two that comes before it is about the planning of the holiday. The three is about the footwork, making it happen. So now is the time to go out there and contend with crowds, go shopping, get everything you need to make the seasonal festivities special. And they highlight here that geese are seen walking behind this character. So we have here geese, which from my bird deck that I like to refer to, I know that the geese represent protection. And I think it's interesting that the two is behind, and then we have the three wands, and we're getting this comparison of, two coming together and planning, right? Creating, doing the legwork to co-create. And then the three is the actual inspired action of the creation. And so now is the time to, again, with discernment, choose from amongst all of those wands and decide, where am I going to put my focus? What am I putting my energy into? And endeavor from there. So whether that does mean, wrapping things up for the rest of the year, whether it be holiday related or, just within your own personal reflection and planning into the future on the other side of that, these are all themes that we certainly will be navigating over these coming weeks for sure, stepping into the new calendar year. So really feeling that then as how we're growing is this, expansive perspective around looking at it that way, like, oh yeah, like I can kind of see how those wands can represent past, present, future, and then bring that into the moon card coming in as our tarot ally from the beginning, highlighting past, present, future when it comes to illumination and, enlightenment from things that previously we did not know, we did not see, they were hidden from our view, and now we have this ability to see more expansively. And it has an expectant and optimistic energy as well. So that is actually bringing me into some of the aspects that I mentioned with the astrological weather as well. And specifically, and very synchronistically, December 19th, the day of this card, Thursday, Venus trine Jupiter, because like I said, that is the planet of expansion. And it brings in a beautiful planetary duo. So it brings in that harmonious energy to shed good fortune on this day. So that's beautiful because this card referenced the two coming in with the Two of Wands and now with the three stepping into the inspired action. So that feels really aligned. And I look forward to seeing when we tap into the Audible Mystics on Thursday when I make that little audio clip for you. I know many of you are enjoying that. I enjoy making those in the morning while I'm having my coffee before I get the kids up. I like to go in and create those little stories and then share them here. So that gives us this added perspective, and it never gets old because it's always so aligned with what we brought in here collectively, and even gives us some new different vantage points to look at it as the week unfolds to see how it may be speaking to us. So stay tuned for those this week as well. Let's take a look at our final tarot card before our oracle message for the week. All right, finally Friday, coming in here with the Nine of Wands, finishing out this sweep of Wands energy we have coming in here. The Nine of Wands, and like I said, kind of very connected to the Ten of Wands, but a little different. Whereas the Ten of Wands is sort of like the final straw, the straw that broke the camel's back, like the burnout, the stick a fork in me, I'm done energy of, enough already, overload. The Nine of Wands is actually a card of perseverance. Don't give up, keep going. And the way that it's worded here from the Winter Waite is that a shepherd watches his sheep by night. This card represents problems and setbacks that need to be overcome. So during the holiday, many problems can come up that threaten the end of the joy of the season, right? Mixed up orders, gift returns, a special present that can't be found anywhere, and there's glitter all over the place. Oh my gosh. Talk about no, these things are all familiar to me. This card indicates the need to keep both your chin up and your holiday spirit intact. It will soon be over. And the new year promises new beginnings and resolutions. You will survive, it says. And it ends it with LOL. So yeah, let's make light. Nothing feels good about being overloaded, burdened, burnt out, right? That doesn't feel good. And, there's a whole nother conversation to be had for choosing to participate in the madness, and to what degree do we do that, and wherein lies an opportunity to break that cycle or to make a new choice. And that's not for everybody, because again, you may very well not your first rodeo in the holiday burnout routine, or something that's just really not even a part of your reality whatsoever, and no love lost there. You're whew, I'm glad that's not my situation. So wherever you are in all of that, it doesn't have to be about the holiday, it doesn't have to be about any of that. It's about opportunities for us to see where we find ourselves here at this place where, again, a reorganization of the wands is called for, an opportunity for us to look at, what's working and what's not. And, the way that typically comes into our awareness is by feeling the effects of something that's not working, so that can be, where we're in this place of sort of near exhaustion, near burnout, where we have an opportunity to have resilience come in through this last defense, a final push, where we can sort of right the ship, or, make these changes that create an opportunity for excitement around what's to come, what lies on the other side of this, finding motivation in the face of difficulties. These are all ways that this card can come forward. So as we wrap up this week and we finish out, like I said, the final full moon of the year, and the way in which that has served to create some ripples, served to create some movement here through, again, choice, through duality, through things being illuminated, through all of this shifting energy that can create some tension. But then through that tension, we dig into innovation, finding new creative ways to work through problems and challenges and issues that come up through the 10 of Wands. So it's kind of going backwards to the 9, but the 9, again, it's going backwards, yet we're going forward into a 9 year. So this is kind of interesting to play on. We've just come through the 10 of the ending of a cycle, right? With the full moon and coming into fullness, wholeness, completion, the 1 and the 0. The 9 is where we're headed, because we're talking about this 9 year coming in, and this energy of self-reflection, inner reflection, leaning into self, having some of that solitude, that stepping back in order to get clear through our own filter. So again, these are all things that are coming up where, oh yeah, I get that with the sheep. Yeah. So going against the grain there, we don't have to fall in line and be amongst, the sheep, for the term what that brings forward for us in terms of understanding that be the leader, be the trailblazer, to not just go with the flow of what everyone else is doing, simply because that's the way they do it, or they think that it's supposed to be done. Again, we come back full circle. So whether it is about the holidays and expectations and all of the things that come with that, and also just like the impression that we have looking at people's highlight reels or Christmas cards or whatever it is, opportunities for us to blaze our own trail, to persevere, moving in the most aligned direction that is most illuminating, inspiring, and invigorating for us, which could be different. You could be a black sheep in this case, is what I'm feeling. There's a little nod there as well. So speaking of that, dark sheep energy, now we're going to look at this unknown oracle card with that big black orb that immediately had me seeing the new moon in Capricorn at the end of the month, the black moon. So let's see what's coming up now with our final card. All right, our final card for the week came forward from the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle to bolster our messages, and we have the card of the unknown, card 41, bringing in the frequency 5, which just keeps on coming up as we talk about transitional energy, in-between energy, change, and the chaos and confusion that happens in the middle of all of that, but also, as we were just talking about, black sheep energy with the 9 of Wands, can represent the rebel, freedom, expression, expansion, the fifth chakra, our throat, all of that as well. So I'm just getting a little nod there with the numerology. But what the Seasons of the Witch Oracle has to say is that this card has keywords of potential, creativity, and risk. It says the unknown is wide open to you now, and pulling this card is a sign that your creative power and ability to manifest your dreams is growing. Wow, because the Three of Wands is, our Thursday. How are we growing? I mean, this card from a completely different deck, totally different energy, bringing forward this consistent message of all of these wands with the lovers of choice and duality and this potential for bringing heaven to earth, and then all this creative, inspirational energy and taking inspired action, talking about how we're growing. And it says you're growing in your ability to manifest your dreams. Take advantage of this unusual period of support and abundance. Visualize all of your deepest desires and greatest wishes. Be the master of your canvas and paint the image of your dreams. Will you dare to entertain your biggest goals? The unknown requires you to be willing to take a risk. What you want cannot be achieved from a place of comfort or in doing what you already know. With significant risk comes great rewards, and the unknown says, now is the time to take a leap of faith. Do not be afraid to fail. Even failure has values and lessons that will help you grow. Be bold and be willing to go against conformity for the sake of freedom and divine alignment with your soul purpose. Yeah, wow. I mean, all those buzzwords that were coming up for me intuitively here in the interpretation of this beautiful card, because it's really it really is talking about going against the grain if that's what feels aligned for you. It's like really getting clear. And again, one eye is covered, one is open. We're being brought within, feeling our way into intuition and inner knowing and what feels aligned. And I love this reminder that it doesn't really matter what you choose, because yes, significant risk can come from stepping out into the unknown, not creating from what you already know, which is the ego. That's all the ego can do, is create from what it already knows, from the past. This card is so aligned with the messages this week, especially that Three of Wands, where we're talking about past, present, and future all at once, and deciding from where we wish to create. Do I want to create in this present moment from the past, from what I've already done, been there, done that, tried that, got the t-shirt, all the things? And maybe it is safe and reliable and familiar. It's also limiting. It's also the same old, same old. So we're getting this expansive energy to step into where we're trying something new, perhaps the path that's less taken or never before been blazed, So there's this stepping out energy as well. Don't be afraid to fail. Take that leap of faith, because no matter what happens, even if you fall flat on your face, even if it looks infinitely different than what you thought it might, you're going to learn, grow, heal, and expand from having had the experience. So there's a beautiful energy here about this open canvas for you to paint whatever you wish. So this is really leaving it wide open. I said that. I was going to say, when I started reading that card, I was hearing Tom Petty out in the great wide open, and then words from the lyrics come out of my mouth. It never fails. Always trying to get me to sing shamelessly. I'm not doing it today. But that being said, out in the great wide open, right? Under them skies of blue, a rebel without a clue, right? But we're still going out there and we are expressing ourselves uniquely, authentically. And so that's really the crux of shifting our focus from, we're not saying that it isn't heavy, that it isn't challenging, that there isn't a lot that we could really get bogged down with here. But we have a choice right there. But also we have a choice. And in that choice is, where do I wish to put my energy? What do I want to invest in? And from where do I want to create? And then taking it from there. So again, many different ways that could be coming up for you this week. If any of these cards were sort of speaking to you more than others, or you'd like to know more on anything specific and you would like a personal card pull, or if you just like a general message, please feel free to reach out to me. You can quick reply here on Marco Polo or reach out to me in any way that works for you. I am working on the full moon empowerment readings here at the top of the week. So especially if you're already with me for the empowerment pack, I'll be in touch with your personal full moon card pulls. If you want to join us again, full moon empowerment reading is available, as well as the Yule and solstice special readings that we'll be diving into here this week into as solstice is approaching. And if you want a personal card pull, please let me know. All right. I am sending you all much love, many blessings, and we will be in touch this week. Thank you so much. Take good care.